Hi everyone, I am Faisal Mangalgiri. Today is 2nd February 2022 and the topic on which I am giving information is constructors, constructors in Java. Let us know about what is the meaning of constructor. Constructor basically means for to construct, means it constructs or it constructs the values. In another way, constructors are also defined as a constructor is used to assign values to the variables which are present inside the objects. Constructors are the nothing but the specialized methods which do not have any return type. Constructors are called whenever a new object is created. Whenever a new object is created, they created using a new word, then at least a one constructor is called. Constructor contains a block of code like a block of code with inside a block of code it contains instructions. Whenever a new object is created, then the memory is allocated inside a memory for a newly created object. Whenever it is not necessary to write a constructor it is not compulsory to write a constructor inside a class. Whenever we do not write any constructor inside a class, then the compiler automatically created a default constructor. Let us understand what is a default constructor. Default constructors are the non-parameterized constructors which our user can define or the compiler can define it. Let us take a look on what are the rules to write a constructor inside a class. The first rule is the name of a constructor must be similar with a class name. And second rule is constructor must not have any return type, any explicit return type. And the third rule is constructor cannot be a static, final, abstract or synchronized. To control the object creation, we can use access modifiers with the constructors. Means constructors can be public, private, protected or default. There are mainly two types of constructors present in Java, namely default constructor or a non-parameterized constructor, and the second type is a parameterized constructor. Let us know about a non-parameterized constructor or a default constructor. A constructor is called as a default constructor or non-parameterized constructor when it do not have any parameters. The syntax for default constructor is: suppose a class having name as a car, then its constructor is like a car, round brackets mean parentheses, and after that two curly braces. This constructor this constructor do not have any parameters, then it is called as a default constructor. Whenever we do not define any constructor inside a class, then compiler automatically calls a default constructor. Let us know about what is the use of a default constructor. A default constructor assigns the default values like 0 or null values to the object. Means these values like zeros and null are default values are assigned to the variables inside the object. These assignment of default values to the variables is basically based on the data types of the variables. Suppose a variable is a integer, then a default value 0 is assigned by a default constructor. And suppose a variable having a string as a data type, then a null then a default value null is assigned by the default constructor. Let us know about the second type of constructor, that is parameterized constructor. A constructor is known as a parameterized constructor when it contains the parameters. The syntax for the parameterized constructor is this. Suppose a class having name as a mobile and its constructor is mobile mobile, and then parentheses. Inside parentheses, suppose there are two variables having data type as integer. Suppose int a comma int b, and then open and close curly brackets. Let us know about what is the use of the parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor is used to assign or to provide the values to the variables which are present inside the objects. These values which are assigned can be similar or duplicates. And let us understand about the as constructors are nothing but the methods or these are the specialized methods which do not have any return type, hence constructor can be overloaded. Let us understand about the overloading of constructors. Suppose a class having two constructors which are having a same name as a class name, and but they differ by the parameters, but they are differed by the parameters. This difference can be of the parameter number of parameters or the data types of the parameters. Compiler differentiates these two parameterized constructors on the basis of their number of parameters or the data types of the parameters. Hence it is proved that constructors can be overloaded. And Java provides a constructor class inside a java.util.reflect package. Let us understand about what are the differences between constructors and methods. The first difference is constructors are used to initialize the objects, but methods are not used to initialize the objects. And the second difference is constructors can be called implicitly, but methods are called only explicitly. Methods can be called explicitly. And the third difference is when a class do not have any constructor, then a default constructor is called. But compiler do not call any method any method by default at any cost. And the next difference is inside a constructor we can call methods directly, but methods do not call constructors directly, but they can call constructor indirectly by creation of object. Thank you.